What's going on, bud? It's Hat and Beard. Welcome back to the Hat and Beard Show. We got some news around the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator position, and I do have some questions that I would like to propose to all of you about this information that's been coming out the last couple days. As we know, Mike McDaniel was Mr. Hot and Heavy early on in the week, and he kind of is getting the belle of the ball treatment, kind of the prettiest girl at the pub. So knowing that, the Lions not going to shut the door on all opportunities. Now, we do know early on that David Blau was kind of a higher end, a little bit more of a sought-after candidate than some other people. But as the sands of time continue to progress, more names start to emerge. And I have two guys lined up for you right now. One that I'm like, hey, yeah, I get where we're coming from. And the other one where I'm like they taught us back in Dare, just say no. But before we do that, guys, could you do me a solid? Could you go ahead and subscribe to the channel? If you're new here, ring that notification bell so you can be notified every single time we go live Monday through Friday. That's right, we got a live show Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here at youtube.com. The Mad Hatter Nation wants to know, they're asking me every day, where are you? Why aren't you hanging out, bud? All you gotta do is subscribe and you can partake in the daily live chat. There is a bunch of guys down there. They like hanging out, dude. It's a good time. It's a good time. And I'm gonna be honest. We don't talk just ball. Some days Chat and Beard gets a little bit away from us, but all you gotta do, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, slap a like on this video, and brother, if you got one to spare, would you mind dropping a hype on what we're doing? Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, guys, now that you're all subscribed up and got your notification bell turned on, new Lions OC candidate has a history with Jared Goff. The Detroit Lions' fifth offensive coordinator candidate has emerged. Former Falcons offensive coordinator Zach Robinson. Now, I remember Zach Robinson back in his collegiate days over at Okie State. The Detroit Lions offensive coordinator search has reached a fifth publicly known candidate. According to Ian Rappaport, the Lions are hosting former Falcons OC Zach Robinson for an in-person interview for the vacancy on Thursday. According to Eric Schlitt, the one of the writers over at Pride of Detroit, quote, Robinson would break into the NFL coaching ranks in 2019 with the Rams and coach Sean McVay after 3 seasons as an assistant, including serving as Jared Goff's assistant QB coach. A little connection there. Robinson was promoted to the passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach in 2022 through 2023, and then left in 2024 following then Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris to Atlanta to serve as his offensive coordinator. So not only is there that connection, there's that what everyone sought after is the Sean McVay young coaching tree branch, right? But also, the Jared Goff connection, Brad Holmes also knows who he is, and he's been around him a little bit better. So it might give a little bit of a leg up over some other guys. Known for running a West Coast scheme, similar to what the Lions do, that adapts their players and utilizes multiple run-blocking schemes, Robinson should be able to adapt to the Lions' playbook quickly. His familiarity with Goff also gives him an added layer of familiarity that many others on the list don't possess, especially now with David Blau as the Washington Commanders offensive coordinator. Now, quickly over here, I do have pulled up a ongoing list for us to follow suit with the Detroit Lions and their coaching vacancies. There are 2 big spots, the OC, as well as the tight ends coach spot is available. But as you can see here, candidates David Blau scratched off, right? He has been hired as the Washington Commies offensive coordinator. So good on him. Mike McDaniel, he interviewed, 2 days ago. He's also going to be interviewing for the Brown Eyes, the Falcons, and the Tennessee Titans, as well as the Ravens head coaching job. If I were Mike McDaniel, the Falcons and Titans job would be about the most appealing of the two. I don't want anything to do with the Cleveland Brown Eyes, and Baltimore just seems like a little bit of a shit show now that the way that it all shook out with John Harbaugh, not even firing the guy in person. That's just cowardice, dude. That's just cowardice. And Mike Daniels also going to be interviewing for the OC job. We are projected to interview Jake Peets, the Ravens quarterback coach T. Martin. He interviewed on Monday as well. Mike Kafka, who we talked about yesterday, who is probably my favorite candidate on the list as of right now. Even I think he's actually nudging out Mike McDaniel in my book. Shout out down below. What do you guys think? Do we got any Falcons fans that can sound off as to Zach Robinson's play calling? Seemed to be relatively successful with Bijan this year. A former NFL quarterback himself, drafted in the 7th round back in 2010. Robinson's coaching career only dates back to 2019 when he rubbed elbows with Sean McVay as the Rams' assistant quarterback coach. As pointed out above, he also helped Jared Goff, who was the starting quarterback at the time, after jumping to wide receivers coach and then back to assistant quarterbacks coach, earning the pass game coordinator title for 22 through 23. He went to the Atlanta Falcons to serve as their offensive coordinator for the past 2 seasons. In Robinson's first year as offensive coordinator at Atlanta, he helped produce the 13th best scoring offense in the league, with Captain Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix Jr. as his quarterbacks. The offense took a step back this past season, ranking 24th in scoring. But one thing has remained in Robinson's 2 years: a steady running game featuring star running back Bijan Robinson. This past season, Robinson put up a league-high 2,298 yards from scrimmage, earning him first-team All-Pro honors. He also is a first-team All-Pro at running back and then a second-team All-Pro at your utility spot. So a crushing season for Bijan Robinson. I'm not saying that you can project those numbers onto Jahmyr Gibbs, or Lord help us, a Jahmyr Gibbs and a David Montgomery. There is a little bit there, though. He does show a tendency to lean more into the run game, which is how we want to set our foundation moving forward. Robinson, who's only 39 years old, is considered a young, bright mind available this coaching cycle. He has also interviewed for the Buccaneers offensive coordinator job earlier this week. Eric Schlitt also talked about the possibility of adding Robinson in our Pride of Detroit direct end season mailbag podcast just this last week. And shout out these two guys. We read Eric Schlitt pretty regularly around here at the Hat and Beard Show. Make sure that you're subscribed. Tune into the morning show to read it. I'm also a big fan of Jeremy Reisman. I read a lot of Jeremy Reisman's articles. So candidate A new candidate has emerged in the fog of war of the Detroit Lions' search to replace, don't throw the screen, Johnny Mo Screens, the human potato that was our offensive coordinator. A little bit of the trend that we're seeing right now with the Lions is, Jake Peetz young, T. Martin young, Mike Kopka. That's who we need to hire. Mike McDaniel, right? Young, explosive. It moves the needle a little bit. John Morton didn't move the needle a little bit, and that's because John Morton is a human potato. And I'm not talking shit. There's a distinct difference between talking shit and saying shit you don't want to hear. Saying shit you don't want to hear, typically 99% of the time, means that it's truthful. Talking shit is just talking shit and being a liar. But I'm just saying shit you don't want to hear. And that is John Morton, Johnny Mo Screens. Don't throw the screen, Johnny Mo Screens. He's a human potato. And that is what it is. Speaking of human potatoes, this is what I'm saying right here. Pump the brakes and knock on wood if you're with me, men. Not Arthur Smith. Just say no. Just say no, because I don't want to trade away any type of capital to bring in Jonnu Smith and watch Arthur Smith become fascinated with Jonnu Smith and totally fade out any other of our offensive weapons. Arthur Smith, I get it. He's part of the Mike Vrabel era in Tennessee. He was the offensive coordinator down there. Forgive me, but I do believe he had a potential Hall of Fame running back, a definite Hall of Fame running back, for the majority of his time in Tennessee under Mike Vrabel. And ever since then, all he's managed to do is lose himself a job and lose everyone else around him his jobs, including Mike Vrabel. And then Arthur Smith, failed as Atlanta's head coach. And most recently was the offensive coordinator with a Hall of Fame quarterback, Aaron Diddly-Doo Rodgers in Pittsburgh, with a Hall of Fame head coach and Mike Tomlin. And they barely made it into the playoffs. They were a first-round exit, and Mike Tomlin was so dissatisfied with how the season goes. This is my own narrative around it, but he was so dissatisfied with how the season went and the decisions that had been made that he said, F this, I'm out. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. This is nuts. You left me with a basket case quarterback, a nut job at wide receiver, and a human potato for an offensive coordinator. Arthur Smith doesn't move the needle for me. Personally, I think this is a step back for the Detroit Lions. But let us talk about Arthur Smith. What does A to Z Sports have for us here on Arthur Smith? Make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, like this video, and share it around. Drop a hype on it if you got it. Lions request interview with Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur P. Smith. The P stands for penis. Smith has a lot of NFL experience. He spent 10 years with Tennessee Titans and worked his way up to offensive coordinator under then Mike Vrabel. After everyone saw what he could do with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, the Falcons came calling and made him their head coach. Unfortunately, that did not work out, and a lot of it had to do with the quarterback situation. Matty Ice retired after his first year with Smith, and the Falcons were not able to score with Desmond Ridder. Really? You don't say. Color me shocked. After getting fired by Atlanta, Smith took over the Steelers' offensive coordinator job and was a big part of their offensive turnaround after Matt Canada and Kenny Pickett had an all-time bad in 2023. As Ian Rappaport notes, Smith is still the head coach in head coach talk right now. He's interviewed for the Titans and the Arizona Cardinals openings so far. And personally, look, I like Arizona. It's a nice place. I vacationed there a couple of different times in my life. Y'all can have them. Y'all can have them. Y'all can. And I don't know, man. Doesn't Arthur Smith just looks like the type of guy who's like, well, I've retired and I'm moving from Pittsburgh, going to retire in Arizona. He just kind of seems like that kind of guy, you know, like just that snowbird type dude. So, you know, Arizona, you guys in your Keebler Fudge Elf quarterback situation, you can have them. In fact, Arizona, as a Detroit Lions fan, it ain't going to hurt my feelings. In fact, I would encourage you to hire him as your head coach so that I don't have to deal with the Arthur Smith human potato 2.0 offensive coordination situation here in the 3-1-3. After, as Ian Rapport notes, Smith is still in the head coach talks. Yep, we talked about that. So, yeah, that's that. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sure that Arthur Smith is probably more content and very up and up on going back to Tennessee. Obviously, is where he made his name, made his mark. And I myself have said that the Tennessee Titans job probably a little bit more appealing with guys like Cam Ward. You know, you guys are Tennessee. Honestly, is like a solid wide receiver one. Drafting a wide receiver one, getting another running back to go along with Tony Pollard. You guys are there. You guys are real close. There's a lot of seasonings in the cupboard there to play with, but Arthur Smith, I don't think Arthur Smith cannot be the answer, dude. Arthur Smith ain't it. At least it wouldn't be for me. And if it ain't going to be for me, it ain't going to be for the Detroit Lions. So slide Arthur Smith on down the list. Obviously, Mike McDaniel is the prettiest girl at the ball. And if I were him, I'd be living it up right now, right? Like, go ahead, let everybody wine and dine you. I'm the hot name. I might as well get a little vacation out of it, get to fly around the country, have everyone pick up the tab for me. I do think, though, that what you're seeing out of the Detroit Lions is a little bit of a signaling. They did not like the way the interview went. Maybe they weren't too overly thrilled with the personality or the possibility of Mike McDaniel being the officer. This could be Detroit is not only keeping their options open, but maybe they weren't the one. You know, it's not always a buyer's market. It's not always a buyer's market out there. And I do think Zach Robinson is an interesting young candidate, kind of fits the mold that everyone's been after. But personally, for me, it's going to go Mike Kafka, Mike McDaniel, Zach Robinson, and Arthur Smith is working with the other potato, John Morton, at the Burger King down the road. They got an assistant manager job open up there for me. So I appreciate each and every one of you tuned in. A little bit shorter video today. Thank you so much, guys. Make sure that you subscribe, turn your notification bell on, like the video, drop a hype on it, comment down below. Who do you think is a good offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions? Would you rather Zach Robinson and Mike Kafka? fucking Arthur Smith or like a Mike McDaniel type? Let me know. Sound off down in the comments below. Share this video around with everybody you know. Make sure you tune in for the live show tomorrow morning. We'll be live at 10 a.m. Guys, I've been Hat and Beard. You've been the attentive audience. Until then, bonga bonga. Brig off.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.